Hello, and this is Rohan. And yeah, we're back to recording now. So I had a lot of things get in the way, like my throat, and also trying to test out recording some games, not going well. So yeah, but now we're finally here to do that 100 subscriber special I promised. So what am I doing today? So I have some Verge of Echoes in the background. It was originally going to be Awakening actually, but I couldn't get that game to run properly, so rip. I wanted to use that as a way to practice recording 3DS games some more because we're gonna be doing Birthright soon, so yeah. And yeah, I think it's gonna work out just fine, which is good, but yeah. Um, because yeah, the Echoes recording went pretty good actually. There was a few hiccups here and there, but yeah, it's fine. But yeah, while that's happening, let's do that 100 subscriber special, and that's gonna be talking about some favorite units. So, I didn't just want to talk about my own favorite units today, I also want to talk about some of the favorite units of the people who helped me get to this point. My friends, obviously. So I asked them for who their favorite units were, and well, here we are. We're going to be talking about 4 units today, and all of them are really good units in my mind, so yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of fun talking about this. So, without further ado, let's talk about my favorite unit, because it is my video obviously, so yeah. Let's start off by talking about Shanna, the Pegasus Knight from Fire Emblem 6 Binding Blade. So yeah, my favorite unit changed a lot actually. Um, Like, yeah, it used to be like Ha and Mia from, of course, Pathway and Serene Dawn. But then, after doing my very first playthrough on the Child Fire Emblem 6, that's when I realized that, yeah, Shanna is my favorite unit. And I feel like there's a lot of good reasons for that. And yeah, I think the first things first, though, is the unit performance. Probably the thing I value the most when it comes to characters, although nowadays I feel like the character of the characters has also helped my enjoyment of them too, so yeah. Let's get on to it. So Shanna, of course, like I said, she's a Pegasus Knight from Fire Emblem 6, and she joins in Chapter 2 on turn 2. So, she's level 1 Pegasus Knight. Her base stats don't seem that impressive. She only has 4 strength, although other than that though, the base stats are actually really good. Her durability isn't even that bad. Sure, 17 HP doesn't look very good, but 6 defense isn't actually that bad at all. And, of course, she also has really high speed. She has 12 speed. But this is kind of to compensate for the fact that her constitution is only 4. So yeah, she's gonna get weighed down by most of the weapons she wields, because those are lances. Um, but there are some other things of note. The fact that she has 7 movement and she flies. And yeah, this is where her value comes in, especially on hard mode. On normal mode, she's actually perfectly fine as a combat unit, probably. On hard mode though, it's a lot harder, and there are much better combat units because of hard mode bonuses and just the game being a lot more difficult. But yeah, that flying though is what really helps her stand out. It means that, yeah, she can like basically skip parts of the map, she can ferry units because her aid is really good. It's 16 at base, although it gets lowered when she promotes because she gains constitution, I'm pretty sure. Um, so yeah, that's how she's mainly used on the higher difficulties. In my spirits though, I only play on normal mode, so yeah, there she actually becomes a pretty decent combat unit. Although it was the first couple of previous where she was only okay, and not like the amazing unit that I know her as today, so yeah. Um, because yeah, she just did her role quite well. She I guess you could go with the growth rates now, because they also kind of tie into a unit performance. 45 HP, 30 strength, 55 skill, 60 speed, 60 luck, 10 defense, and 25 res. So yeah. Now one thing about Fire Emblem 6 is the fact that enemy hit rates are actually extremely bad. Um, that's because your hit rates are bad too, but yeah. Um, but yeah, mainly, yeah, enemies are not going to be able to hit her very reliably, especially once she promotes and gains access to swords. Once that happens, yeah, it's very hard to actually kill her. But yeah, you do want to be kind of careful around enemies that have bows and stuff. But yeah, other than that though, yeah, she's actually quite durable. And her killing power isn't too bad, because even though 30% strength growth seems kind of bad, she's so fast, so being able to double enemies should be pretty reliable, especially on normal mode. Even if she's like getting weighed down, because there's so many good weapons actually. Of course, swords really help once she promotes, but there's also killer lances, which she'll basically be able to use always when she promotes, so yeah. There's all of that. So yeah, she's very solid as a unit. But yeah, let's go to the stories about using this unit. So my first playthroughs off Farm 6, I did Arena Abuse, which yeah, that definitely helps. I can get to level 20 with the first arena, and then the next map you get a Legion Whip and then she promotes. But yeah, nowadays though, that's not really a problem for me, because yeah, in my playthrough I did Arena Abuse. I think that might be the first time I played the game without Arena Abuse too. So yeah, the one I did on the channel. So yeah, that was not a problem, because yeah, I could get promoted. I think it was around like level 14, maybe it was a little bit higher from my memory. But yeah, I was able to get promoted just for the Western Isles, which was always the plan. And then once she is promoted, she's extremely useful, because the Western Isles has tons of axe enemies. And yeah, she can equip swords to them, and then they become a complete joke, so yeah. And yeah, she was extremely useful. There's so many good situations at the Western Isles where being able to fly around helps. So yeah, that's where, yeah, she became absolutely amazing unit. But then, in that playthrough too, then we got into basically one of the main reasons why I feel like she's less of a combat unit on hard mode, and that's Milady. Milady's also a flyer, but she also fights really hard. And on hard mode, she also gets hard mode bonuses too, which definitely help. They definitely give her the nice base stat lead over potential other flyers you get as well, so yeah. You might have noticed I did talk about Fia. Fia, yeah, she's kind of like a support unit in my mind. She basically helps Shanna out, because their support is actually really quick, so yeah. It's very possible to try and get an A support, especially if you're not playing super fast, so yeah. So yeah, that happened. We'll talk about more about Fia in a little bit, but yeah, I think Milady is the main unit, because again, not only does she fly, and also has that really good utility because of that, but she also, not only does she fly, but yeah, she also has really good combat, especially on hard mode, obviously. But yeah, here's the funny thing though, normally in my playthroughs, that's basically how it ends for Shanna, I guess. As a combat unit, because yeah, I just let Milady do everything, and Shanna just there as a backup. But in my playthrough on the channel, things changed a lot. I think it was because Milady wasn't that fast. I think she wasn't leveling up speed that much. So then when it came time for chapter 14, the infamous desert map with the Fog of War, Shanna was actually the one killing most of the enemies and getting really strong in the process. So yeah. And then it basically snowballed from there. Shanna kept just being there, being an amazing unit. The support with Fia definitely helped too. And then by the time we were done with Ilya, which is another good reason to use Shanna, by the way, I guess I could talk about that briefly. There's a route split in Fire Emblem 6. It's dependent on if you use Shanna and Fia. If you use them a lot, then and they level up a lot, you'll go to Ilya, where they live. But if you use Sue and Sin, you go to Sakai instead, which is much harder, because the enemies are much harder to kill because they're fast, so yeah. So if you use Shanna, you're not going to go to... You're less likely to go to Sakai, but even in Sakai she can be decent because she's fast, and there's also a Delphi shield, although I think the Delphi shield is better on Milady, so yeah. But yeah, by the time we're done with Ilya, she got S rank in swords as well, because yeah, you can get double S ranks in this game. And then she used the Randall, and she was killing wyverns in chapter 22, I think it is. Or 21 actually, that's what it is. So yeah, with the help of Fia, who is within the Maltep, because yeah, Milady and Zeiss, I was also using Zeiss in that playthrough, they didn't really need the dragon killing weapons because they're actually quite strong on their own, so yeah. So there's that. I think by that point, that's when Zeiss became the best flyer, because yeah, his stats were amazing. And he also had melee support too, so yeah. But Shanna though, Shanna was definitely the MVP though, because she was so good throughout the whole game, and then yeah. at the end of the game, she just did her work with the Dragon Slaying weapon and the Randall, and then there you go, because there's a lot of dragon units, so yeah. Yeah, there we go, that's Shanna's unit. But yeah, that's another thing that reminded me of too, so yeah, back when I was, you know, just playing FE6 before that playthrough, the funny thing about Shanna is that she always levels up better for me than my brother. My brother fails to get Strength on her consistently, meanwhile I can get Strength on her no problem, and that just made me, like, find her more endearing, I guess. Even if it was the cost of my brother, but anyway. He did get a finally good Shanna, I think last time he played FE6, so yeah. The joke kinda comes to end, but still, I do like the fact that Shanna was a unit that always wanted to be good for me, but not my brother for some reason, so yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the thing I think about Shanna too. She was kind of an overlooked unit until people realized that, hey, she's actually pretty good because she flies around, and she is actually decent on combat too, even in hard mode, although not amazing. Not as amazing as New Percival, Rutger, and Lily, but yeah, still very decent though. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's the thing about me too. I always like to, you know, talk about the really bad units. Shanna's definitely not one of those, but she's definitely overlooked. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, having a unit like Shanna, who's definitely not, like, an amazing unit, and make her, like, and seeing her turn out into something incredible, yeah, that just really fits me so well. Even if I am more known for units who are bad, like Sophia in FE6, so yeah. So there's that. I think that's everything I wanted to say about Shanna as a unit. So let's talk about her as a character. It's pretty simple. She doesn't do much in the main story because there's a GBA forum game, and those don't really have too much relevance for the side characters. But yeah, she comes in to help out Chapter 2 because she's part of Deek's mercenary unit. And yeah, she's most likely here because, yeah, she wants to earn money to help out her homeland. So yeah. Then at the West Isle, she does get to meet her older sister, Fia. Now, I'm pretty sure that, Shanna can't actually... I actually don't know if Shanna could recruit Fia, because I normally just use Klein to do it, so yeah. So there's that. But yeah, Fia though, we are going to be talking about a little bit because of her support. It's the one I remember the most, and I think it also ties into Shanna's character as well. Then after that, you can go to Ilya, and she has a boss conversation with Sigun, I think it is the Falconite boss on the third map. So yeah, chapter 19 I think it is. But anyway. So there's that. Let's talk about our supports a little bit. The Roy support is actually kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure that it kind of revolves around like Roy is actually I think it revolves around the fact that, yeah, Roy kind of looks up to Shanna for being super optimistic. Because, yeah, Roy does admit that he does kind of get the press sometimes. Because, you know, he's super young, and also, being the leader of this army too in place of his father must be really taxing on him. But yeah, he doesn't mind Shanna for being, you know, for being super optimistic, despite all that, so yeah, and just being super upbeat. And yeah, I do like my characters like this. She's the youngest of the three sisters. She's definitely not like an Est in terms of a unit, but yeah, as a character though, she's very much like Est, and I feel like she's one of the better characters that are similar to Est, I guess you could say. But yeah, I just really like these upbeat characters and stuff. They're super fun, and also super heartwarming at points too, and yeah, this Shanna and Roy support kind of ties with that. They also have an paired ending together where they get married, and that's kind of reference to Heroes because her only other ult is her bridal ult, so yeah. Now, a lot of other supports, like the Deke one, is basically, and also the Fia one, which I'll go into more detail, they basically revolve around the fact that Shanna is kind of reckless, so the other person wants it to, like, tone it. The other person wants Shanna to basically tone it down a little bit, but then, like, Shanna either uses some kind of excuse or tries to dodge the question about it, so yeah, kind of makes the other person feel a little bit frustrated, but yeah. I think as support to the fellow mercenary members like Deke, Ward, and Lot, they kind of they kind of tie into that. But yeah, I feel like it's the Fia support that really dives into this. It's the support I remember the most because yeah, like I kind of said before, it's actually kind of easy to get because they get +3 each turn. So, I guess I'll take a sip here. So yeah, they get +3 each turn, and yeah, that means that yeah, it's very possible to get the UE support if you slow your gameplay down a little bit. If you're not like speedrunning the game, then yeah, you can definitely get this. But yeah, basically Fia is really worried about Shanna because, again, she's being reckless, not flying without her range and stuff. And then they kind of have a fight about it. But then, yeah. But then, like, they try to sell things, in the B support, I think. And then Shanna kind of calls out because she kind of feels that, like, Fia's being, like, you know, stuck up and stuff and not thinking about Shanna. But then, yeah, the A support happens, and then, they kind of, mend the relationship a little bit, although, yeah, Shanna decides to be a little bit cheeky, and then, at the end, basically, Shanna thinks that Fia, always hates her. So then, it makes Fia admit that, yeah, she does care about Shanna a little bit, and then, yeah, Shanna teases her for it, and that's how the support looks. So yeah, there you go. Again, kind of a weird support. I don't know if I call it, like, really good. It's the support I remember the most, because again, it's actually kind of easy to get, and Fia's not a terrible, you know, right? She does get hard mode bonuses, but even then, I think I'm still much better off using Shanna because Shanna joins earlier, so yeah. The hard mode bonuses just don't do enough for how Fia starts, so yeah. There's that. So the Juno and Zealot supports are pretty similar in my opinion, from what I remember of them. Basically, it kind of shows that Shanna really cares for her family. She's very enthusiastic about the child that Zealot and Juno are gonna have, so yeah, that's very sweet. And yeah, speaking of Juno too, even though Juno herself is not a great unit, she can join into the triangle attack, and then yeah, if you're supporting Fia like I do, then yeah, you actually got a pretty decently strong unit of Balkanites on your side. Although yeah, I wouldn't use Juno as a combat unit because yeah, she's not good. Her base stats are kind of appalling, and so are weapon ranks, so yeah. I'm not a big fan of her because of that, so yeah. And yeah, that's basically what I had to say about Shanna as a character. So yeah, overall, yeah. It's kind of weird that, yeah, she's, my favorite unit, especially when you compare it to, like, Har and Mia, who are definitely a lot more standout. But yeah. Again, just a very fun experience and a very important playthrough of mine. And yeah, kind of like the combination of all my playthroughs too of FE6, a game I actually came to really adore too. That just kind of, you know, it made it for me, I guess. So yeah, that's why I really love Shanna, and I really always like her. So yeah. And yeah, I am kind of hoping she gets more ults and heroes as a result. Although yeah, in Heroes she is kind of infamous. I guess I could talk about that briefly. We're gonna mainly be talking about the main games in the series that they come from. So like, yeah, I'll go into that later. But anyway, but yeah, Shanna, she was involved in a voting gauntlet with Takumi, and she won, even though Takumi was on from a more popular game. I'm pretty sure it's just because Shanna was a girl, but anyway. And then also, yeah, she does have 2 ults. Her regular form, which is very well known for having the skill Desperation, so yeah, you can get that to a lot of your units. A lot of people did because it's good with Fury, which is a very good skill. And then there's also the Bridal Ult, which is fine, I guess. Yeah, Kanto, which is kind of cool, but yeah. That's really all I had to say about Shanna, so yeah. Again, that's my personal favourite unit, but yeah. Like I said though, I didn't just want to talk about my own favourite units in this special, because again, my friends also helped me get to the milestone I'm able to reach for this video, which is 100 subscribers. So yeah, let's talk about their favourite units now. So yeah. We're going to be starting with a friend that helped me in my first playthrough, kind of thing and that. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about their favourite unit. Our next unit to talk about will be Owain from Fire Emblem Awakening. So, as a unit, he's completely overpowered. So, he's a child unit in Fire Emblem Awakening. And basically what that means, he's kind of overpowered. And he also has a very good mother for that too. But yeah, I guess we'll go over that first. So yeah, his mother's Lissa. So yeah, why is Lissa so good as a mother? Well, she has access to the Pegasus Nightline, so you can get Gale Force on him. And that's really good. You don't always need Gale Force, but yeah, it's the best skill he probably has to inherit that's female exclusive. So yeah, a lot of people like to do that, and of course, Owain's such a cool character, you might as well spoil him like that. But yeah, making Lissa a Falconite though, or Dart Flyer is actually the class. To get Gale Force, yeah, that's gonna take a lot of time, and probably a lot of grinding, so yeah. I recommend doing this if you're min-maxing, but if you do manage to plan it out so that you can get it, yeah, you got a pretty overpowered, Owain on your hands that is able to move again after he kills something, so yeah. And killing something is definitely something he's going to be very good at, because yeah, the thing with the Chardians is that, well, they're kind of powerful. They inherit a lot of the stats from the parents, so yeah, even if you do his power lock late, as long as you're using the parents, he's always going to join very strong, no matter what you do, so yeah. And yeah, let's say you don't really use the parents that much. Well, he still has really good growth rates. I'm going to be trying to go over as many Owains as I can. I'm only going to be talking about the ones I'm familiar with. The one I saw in the very first playthrough I saw of Awakening, and then the two Owains I used in my playthroughs. That's what I'm going to be going over. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the unit performance and stuff. I just want to talk about some cool things about them. So yeah. The first Owain I ever got to see was with Lon'qu as the father. So this Owain's pretty strong. He has 80% HP, 53 strength, 28 magic, 66 skill, 65 speed, 56 luck, 28 defense, and 33 res. Yeah, there's not really a bad start there. And yeah, his base stats, again, they can vary quite a bit. If you average it out, yeah, those are some pretty strong base stats. I think we're talking like around 40 HP, like 15 strength. You can have a lot of magic too, and that's the fun part of all the Owains, I feel like. He's a very good mix attacker. And I think that kind of ties to how I used him in my first playthrough too. So yeah, basically no matter how he attacks, he's gonna do very good. Especially because, yeah, even on the magical end, there's just so many good terms in Awakening. Of course, there's no Sferatu if you're a sorcerer, but you also have access to stuff like Celica's Gale as well, which is a brave term. And yeah, you can definitely make good use of that. So yeah, I think no matter what weapon he uses, he's going to be pretty overpowered. So yeah, a very good unit. So Lon'qu gives him access to Wyvern Rider and Thief, I do believe, as the other classes. And yeah, you can definitely pick up some fun skills there. Like Lance Breaker, for example, from Griffin could be a lot of fun. Same with Deliverer. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say, because again, you can basically give him whatever you want as well. I did already talk about what Lissa could pass down. Another cool skill she can pass down, which is a lot less popular though, is Dual Support Plus. That's a really fun skill, but yeah, most people just prefer Gale Force for obvious reasons. And yeah, also I should have mentioned when I mentioned his growth rates, I'm actually talking about his base class, which is Myrmidon, obviously. And yeah, that's a good class though. Swordmaster does have access to Swordfair, which yeah, if he's going to be using swords all the time, you probably want to pick that up. So yeah, that's definitely a class I could recommend him going. Also Assassin if you want a different flavor of sword class too. But anyway, let's go on to my first Owain, in my first playthrough. The one where I'm min-max, so yeah, he's going to be pretty overpowered as a result. That was Vake. Vake was his father, because I kind of want to see what would happen if Owain was super strong with Vake's really good strength stat and growth. Surf growth rate's not too different. 86 HP, 58 strength, 25 magic, 65 skill, 60 speed, 53 luck, 33 defense, and 28 res. Yeah, they're pretty similar. And yeah, he can come with a lot of strength as a result. So yeah, he was quite a powerhouse in that playthrough, especially because yeah, I did give him Gale Force. So yeah, he was again pretty overpowered. Vake is able to give him Fighter and Thief, I do believe, because Barbarian always gets passed on, I think. Actually, I could be wrong about that, but yeah. I forget what class Lissa passed on, because yeah, Lissa can't pass on Pegasus Knight because that's a female-only class, so yeah. There's that. I think Troubadour too. you also can't pass that skill or pass that class down, so yeah. So one of those two classes I think gets swapped off for Barbarian, but anyway. Now I like this pairing quite a bit because there's another overpowered skill that Owain can have access to, Soul. Now yeah, Soul might not seem as good as something like Gale Force, but it's an amazing skill because yeah, enemy phasing on Awakening is super strong. So having a skill that basically heals you for every like 1 or 2 rounds of or 2 or 3 rounds of combat, yeah, that's pretty strong stuff. And yeah, Owain definitely has the strength to make very good use of this, and also the skill as well. Because I'm pretty sure it's only skill percent, so yeah, you'll activate this pretty frequently. And yeah, too bad he doesn't get access to Mercenary though with this pairing, because yeah, if he did, you can get Odds Rift, which is one of my favorite skills in Awakening. But yeah, the Berserker class is also kind of fun. Wrath is not a good skill, but yeah, you can have fun with Axe Fair there as well. So yeah, I think I also dabbled in some of the Thief-based classes too because of sword access. So like, you could gain skills like Acrobat from Trickster, which is really fun too, so yeah. But yeah, I think the class that he ended up being was Dreadfighter, a class that's able to use swords, axes, and tomes, and yeah, that kind of fits his identity quite well. Able to hit hard with both physical and magical weapons, so yeah, he was pretty overpowered as a unit. And yeah, he would actually end up marrying my daughter in that playthrough, Morgan, so that was also kind of fun. It's the one support I remember vividly about, well not really I'd say vividly, but yeah. I just remember it quite well, so yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the third Owain I used, and the one that's probably the most strangest looking, and that's Libra. Now Libra is actually a magical father, so as you probably expect, he gets a little bit more magic. 81 HP now, 50 strength, 33 magic, 65 skills, 60 speed, 53 luck, 28 defense, and 36 res. Yeah, he's a bit better at magic now, and this is kind of tied into his classes now. He now has us to Mage and Dark Mage. And Dark Mage is kind of the main thing I wanted to use with him, because yeah, Sorcerer's kind of overpowered in Fire Emblem Awakening. They have access to Nosferatu, so yeah. He was using that a lot, and yeah, being basically unkillable, so yeah. That was a lot of fun. I forget who he paired with in this playthrough. It might have been, actually, again, I can't really remember very well. Actually, it might have been Noir, because I think I made Noir also a Dark Mage. But Dark Mage just also has access to some pretty hilariously overpowered skills. Hex and Anathema are not to be slept on. Vengeance has like a 2 times skill activation, so yeah, you can basically activate it all the time, and it's pretty fun with like Vantage, which, guess what, a wing comes with, and Tomebreaker too is kind of powerful too. So yeah, and of course, access to Sage means that he has Tome Fair, so yeah, he was pretty overpowered, and I really liked that, and yeah, the reason why I did this was, well, a homage to Fire Emblem Fates, where he reappears, so yeah. Because in that game he's Dark Mage, and yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit. I think the main thing we're going to be talking about is Owain, because that was definitely the appearance that made people love this dude so much, so yeah. So yeah, that's Owain as a unit. So let's talk about his character, and yeah, the thing I remember most about Owain and his character is his Guidance, oh not Guidance, Paralogue. Paralogue's replaced Guidance in Awakening. And yeah, this is actually a really good one, because he joins, and he seems like just, you know, some weirdo who just like shouting really funny phrases directly to other foreign games. But yeah. But what made him so cool was the end, where he protects his mother, and then yeah, he makes his mother very proud because yeah, I think it's something along the lines of, yeah, he basically said that, yeah, he is going to carry on her bloodline for her. And yeah, I thought that was actually really cool. I really like the end of that map a lot. But yeah, some other funny things happen in that Paralogue. One of the green NPCs on that map has just some random sword. And he mistakes it for the Mistletoe from which is one of the holy swords in Fire Emblem 4. And yeah, it's pretty funny because yeah, this actually turns into his personal weapon. It's like some random sword that gets a +1 skill. It's hilarious. I love it so much. And yeah, definitely a fun weapon to use. But yeah, that's what kind of made me endeared to me. I was like one of those people like, yeah, this guy's just one note and just talks about being himself. But yeah, after I saw that conversation list at the end of the prologue, yeah, that was great too. And yeah, he even has some nice supports in his mother too. I think he wants they're more light-hearted, but they're still pretty nice because yeah, he wants to name a staff. I think if he wanted to name a staff something to protect her mother and stuff, it's really nice stuff. He definitely cares a lot about her. Probably his father too. I can definitely see that as well. He just seems like a very nice child to have. So yeah, I can't remember the supports too much, but I assume that, yeah, from what I remember of them, basically, the other character kind of engages in, his banter, I guess, at least some fun moments, but yeah, I think the thing about Wayne is that, yeah, even though he is kind of a crazy character at points, he is kind of down to earth when it counts. Like, Future Past is a good example. They had to defend the bridge, and, then, yeah, that's where you get to see his serious mode activate, and then, yeah, it's really interesting stuff, yeah. It's similar reason why I like Inigo too, although I do think that Owain is probably more likable than what Inigo's doing, so yeah, that's what I'll admit, so yeah. Anyway, the one support I do remember a decent amount is the Morgan one, because yeah, again, in my first playthrough, that's who he is for, I'm pretty sure, so yeah. That was a fun support too. Basically, Morgan has a lot of fun with Owain and his antics, and yeah, that leads to a nice romantic relationship. And yeah, I thought that was really sweet stuff. One of my favorite supports of the Chaldeans, I do believe. I think I also kind of like Inigo and Severa as well, who I also did in my first playthrough. That was a lot of fun too. But yeah. Again though, Owain's just a very charming character. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say because again, I'm not like super familiar. I've only played The Awakening last year and I can't remember what I did with him support wise. I think again I did support with Noir. I think that was also a pretty decent support too. Noir's kind of a depressing character, I think, and then Owain was trying to uplift her and stuff. It was cool. I think that's what I remember happening, so yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I paired them because they're both Dark Mages, and yeah, I wanted to make use of the pair-up bonuses because of that, so yeah. So there you go. I guess now, let's talk a little bit about Odin. So, Odin is Owain, but in Fate, he doesn't seem that good at first glance, although he definitely has his strengths. It's mainly because his growth rates are very balanced, but his base stats are kinda bad. He's extremely slow. But one thing he can take advantage of is Nosferatu. He's a lot bulkier than the other Dark Mage you get in the other game, Nyx, in Conquest, so yeah. In Rare he's a lot worse, but yeah. Nosferatu actually is really fun to use on him, so yeah. That actually made him a much better unit in my eyes, so yeah. I quite like him because of that. And of course, the main thing that he's remembered for is the fact now he becomes a father for a child unit. And his child unit is Ophelia, one of the best child units in the game. Both character-wise and also combat-wise, because she has the potential to destroy entire maps with with Vantage and Life and Death builds because of a high magic, and if you pair Odin with I was about to call oh yeah, she is called Elise. Of course his mother's called Lissa, which is kind of weird to think about when you think about it like that, but anyway, yeah. He's pretty good actually. Again, at first glance he doesn't seem that good. Definitely not as strong as Owain, but still though, very decent unit. Because yeah, having access to Life and Death and Conquest is just so nice, because yeah, you can do so much cool things with it. And yeah, that's when I became to really like Ophelia. But yeah, of course, we want to talk about Owain here, so yeah. Again, I'm not too familiar what he does in other games, because yeah, he's in... I mean, I know what he does in Heroes. He had a really great refine, actually. And, I don't know what he does in Warriors, though, but I'm pretty sure he probably gets up to more banter, which, yeah, that's just what I really like about him, and why he's such a memorable unit. Again, like I said, my first impression of him was kind of weird, because again, I thought he was just kind of another one-note character, which, yeah, that's something that, Awakening gets criticized a lot for. And Fates, but yeah, when you dig deep into it though, he is a very cool character actually, and has a lot of good serious moments, so yeah, I like the dude quite a bit. And yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing more stories about him in the comments too. So yeah, because yeah, especially in regards to Awakening, because yeah, basically any parent will make him good. So yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing about some other pairings that happen. So yeah, I think that's good enough to talk about Owain. So let's go on to the next here. And yeah, this is one. This one's from one of the friends I was able to bond with a lot also in my playthroughs too. So yeah, let's talk about their favorite unit now. Our next card to talk about is Dmitry Alexandra Belated from Farm of Three Houses. And yeah, oh boy. So, I think the reason I'm so critical about Three Houses nowadays is just because of this dude, I feel like. Because this dude is basically everything that I like about Three Houses, I feel like. His route is amazing, his character is amazing, his unit performance is amazing, yeah. I definitely can't think about Three Houses without Dmitry. He's like the main character for me in this story, so yeah. So, yeah, let's talk about Dimitri's unit first, because that's going to be the less complicated thing, because oh boy, his character. But anyway, so Dimitri, one of the best units in the game, I'd say. Probably the best unit, alongside Edo God, obviously. His base stats are amazing. 12 base strength is definitely a big highlight, especially with the fact that, yeah, he starts off with Tempest slots. So, on the first map, he's gonna be one of your best units, so yeah. Because Tempest slots is a really strong commandant, giving both good damage and good hit rate, so yeah. Dimitri can definitely one-shot a lot of things with this at the right lots, so yeah. His crest also ties into Commandants too. It has a very small chance of activating, but if it does, it doubles the attack, the damage of the Commandant, but it also doubles the weapon uses of the Commandant, so yeah. It's funny when it goes off though, but yeah, it's probably gonna make you annoyed a little bit sometimes because of money. Because yeah, essentially we use his Hero's Relic, but yeah. So now we talk about that, we'll talk about his proficiencies, which are Swords, Lances, and Authority, but he also gets a budding talent in Riding. If you get that, then yeah, he becomes good at riding, but he also gains one of the worst skills in the game, Seal Movement, which, it activates, you'll lower the enemy's movement by 1, which, my brother doesn't even think that closes all that, because why stop the enemy from moving when you can kill them instead? Which is actually kind of easy to do in Three Houses. But this skill though, it's even worse when you think about it, because not only does it lower movement by 1, which isn't as much as, you know, stopping them from moving at all, but also, why is Dimitri not killing things? I need to rely on this skill, is basically the main thing. Because, yeah, Dimitri is definitely has the power to just kill things before you could, you know, seal their movements, so yeah. Yeah, one of the worst things about Dimitri, unfortunately. But hey, having one useless skill is definitely not going to stop him from being one of the best units in the game. So, let's talk about some other things he gets. His spell list is cool, but unless you're making him a Royal Knight, or not Royal Knight, Holy Knight, he's probably not going to use these that much. But yeah, he gets Thunder, Thoron, Heal, Nosferatu, Recover, and Aura. Thunder, Thoron, Aura are what most people don't get. Aura's pretty cool because it's strong faith damage, which could be fun as a Royal Knight, or not Royal Knight, Holy Knight like I said, but yeah, that's the only time I'd recommend using it. And that though, just focus on its physical damage. So what other exclusive things does he get? Well, for his Commandants, he gains access to Wind Sweep and Sunder. Sunder is the first one he gets. Because yeah, everyone else gets the same Commandants. Sunder is okay because it kind of increases crit rate, but Wind Sweep is definitely the breadwinner here. Because yeah, making the enemy not counter you is extremely useful. So yeah, this is definitely a great skill to have around. Commandant, I mean. And it does make him actually really good as a Swordmaster, because Swordmaster gives you crit plus 10 with swords, and he can also use Wind Sweep. So yeah, when I mention crit rate, well, we'll get that a bit. But anyway, for Lance Commandant, you can get Monster Piercer, and Glowing Ember. Glowing Ember can be very strong because Dimitri is definitely quite good at he's definitely quite good at using his defense. So yeah, I say that's a pretty good combo out to get on him as well. Although with his playstyle, he doesn't need combo outs that much. But hey, it's still pretty good. And the final thing is with authority. So we'll go into the funny thing in a bit, but yeah, he gets Rally Charm at S rank, which is not good because you can get that much easily on another unit like Dorothea, so yeah, there's no real point to go after this. However, you definitely want to go after the battalion skills he gets. Dimitri is unique because he's the only unit in the game that gets Battalion Wrath and Battalion Vantage at the same time. So yeah, what does this mean? Well, if the battalion's low in health, he gets both Vantage and Wrath. And that's actually not too hard to do because yeah, battalions kind of decrease in health slowly but carefully. So it's very easy to just, you know, get the battalion low in health, carry that over to other mats too by purposely not healing it, and then, well, you've got Dimitri that is able to move first on the enemy phase and kill everything in sight. So yeah. And yeah, to greatly enhance this, you want to run high crit weapons like Wu Daos and Killer Lances, depending on what you're using with him. And a high crit battalion, I think his King of Lion Court that he gets in part 2 is pretty good for that too. But there are also some other good ones like maybe Goneril Valkyries or Thordarius Soldiers that also increase crit. But yeah, you definitely want to look out for those. Because yeah, more crit means more reliable Wrath, and yeah, you definitely like that. So yeah, you need to counteract the enemy's luck a little bit, so yeah, that definitely helps. Other skills that can definitely help too are like hit plus 20, and of course the prowess skill with whatever weapon type you're doing, because yeah, it should be pretty easy to get his hit rate to basically 100, and then once that happens, yeah, he's going to obliterate everything on enemy phase. See, that's really good. And yeah, it also opens up some other weird class ideas, like War Master. He's not good at axes. That's one of his banes. But, as a War Master, that gets a 3 plus 20 crit. And yeah, as you probably expect with Battalion Wrath, yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, like I just said previously, Sword Master can also be good because that gives crit plus 10. Sword crit plus 10 as well as class skills, so yeah. But of course, we haven't even talked about his personal classes. Lord's not great, and it's also shared with the other. It's also shared with the other lords in the game, Edelgard and Claude. It's not a great class. It doesn't really make Dimitri good at using lances, and the skills you get are resistance plus 2 and subdue, which yeah, Dimitri probably doesn't need to use those. But in part 2. He gets his new classes. High Lord is the first one. It's alright. Gives him access to both Lance. It gives him Lance Fair and Charm, which are definitely pretty good. And he carries this over to his other class, Great Lord. Great Lord's pretty similar, but yeah, this class is good though. Focusing on Lances is definitely something Dimitri likes to do because he also gets that Hero's Relic in part 2 as well, which is also one of the more fun things about him. But yeah. Of course, like I said previously, yeah, Dimitri does like Lances a lot. He has Glowing Ember to make very good use of that, and yeah, it's just a really cool class in general, because yeah, Lance infantry classes are actually not really a thing in this game, so yeah, unless you dismount as a paladin. And yeah, that's another class that's actually good for him too. Gives him Lance Fair and higher movement, but yeah, it does sacrifice his speed growth a little bit, which most people don't want to do, so yeah. And yeah, Great Lord's more this. Actually, no, wait. We need to talk about the class skill or the mastery skill you get from High Lord. High Lord, like High Lord, like the other tier 2, like the other tier 2 lore classes, gets Pomp and Circumstances, which is a luck and charm boost, I do believe. Let me double check the total. It's Charm and Luck plus 4, so that could be fun, but it's definitely not necessary, so yeah. So let's talk about Great Lord. So yeah, he gains access as a Great Lord pretty quickly, actually. Again, it's just High Lord but better, because it has, because yeah, it still has Charm and Lance Fair. And yeah, it keeps, Dimitri, well, still doing his thing. being strong with lances, and also making use of that hero's relic if you want to use that. And the skill it gets is okay, I think. It's not amazing, but it's a fun one. That is Paraceline. It's a combat art. It uses 3 weapon uses. It's actually Might plus 10 and Avoid plus 10, and you move 1 space back without the combat. So actually not too bad, to be honest. Especially if you have a strong lance of Dimitri, you can definitely try to one-shot things with this because of his massive strength, which I haven't even talked about yet. Let me go over his growth rates real quick before I forget about them. Those growth rates are 55 HP, 60 strength, 20 magic, 50 dex, 50 speed, 25 luck, 40 defense, 20 res, and 60 charm. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Again, massive strength, good speed, everything else is still very solid. He doesn't really like res, he's actually very similar to like Ike and Diamond in terms of stats, but yeah, that's definitely not a good thing because all his physical stats are way overpowered, so yeah, this is an amazing unit. And I can't forget to talk about his personal skill. In part 1, it gives him 1.2 times the XP, but in part 2, it changes to also give plus 20 avoid if he's at full HP. And yeah, being at full HP should be pretty easy for him, although he doesn't really need the avoid boost if he's killing everything with Battalion Wrath Advantage, so yeah, it's cool I guess. And the final thing we'll talk about in terms of gameplay is the fact that he has a hero's relic. Aradbar, one of the funny ones. So it's 19 might, 9 weight, 75 hit, and 10 crit with 20 uses. And it gives him Atrocity, which is a combat art that, well, does effective damage on all enemies. So that's pretty funny. And yeah, it basically means that, yeah, Dimitri can definitely one-shot a lot of things with this. And again, that's definitely not a bad thing too. Because yeah, one-shotting things is definitely very good on Maddening mode, and yeah, as you probably said, Dimitri's on the best units on Maddening mode. Especially on the blue lines, because yeah, being able to just destroy everything on enemy phase when you give him like Retribution, yeah, that's pretty good stuff. So yeah, that was a lot already, but yeah, we still have to talk about his character a little bit, so yeah, let's do the CliffsNotes version. So we're going to be focusing on what he does when you're in his house. The Azure Moon path is what we're going to be focusing on. So yeah. So during part 1, it's pretty simple stuff, although it definitely does seem like Dimitri has some kind of dark past. Because yeah, there's one conversation, I think it's and there's also the stuff that happens at Ramaya Village. You can definitely see a much more angry Dimitri in those parts. And he also reveals that he went to the Officers Academy for revenge. But what could this revenge be? Well, it's pretty it's quickly learnt that yeah, he thinks that it's the Flame Empress' fault for what happened with the tragedy of Duska, which yeah, this is the event that basically traumatized his entire life, and basically turns him into the person he is today. So the CliffsNotes version is that the tragedy of Duska is where his father, King Lambert, was horrifically killed. But not only that, but also his friend Glenn was killed there, and that is Felix's brother, and also his stepmother Patricia, she vanished at the instant, and is probably dead too. We can't know for sure is the problem. And yeah, during this, Dimitri saw what he thought was the perpetrator. A person who looked very similar to the Flame Emperor in his eyes, so yeah. And then yeah, as you probably expect, once Dimitri learns who the Flame Emperor is, yeah, that's when things completely change. Or does it? Well, here's the thing. Felix, who's one of the classmates obviously, he got to saw this brutal version of Dimitri in the past. Yeah, there's a lot to Dimitri's backstory. That's what's gonna make him so difficult to talk about. But yeah, he got to see the not really evil, the vicious side of Dimitri, because yeah, they were fighting, and then Dimitri let it out, and then yeah, that's when Felix decided to dub him as the Wild Boar that he kind of is. And yeah, that's also kind of references supports too, which we'll get into. But yeah. Once the Flame Emperor is revealed, yeah, that's when Dimitri shows off, well, his true colors, I guess you could say. Because yeah, that polite Dimitri that we saw at the beginning of part 1, that was basically just there to hide his true self. I guess you could say. Or at least that's what, you know, someone wanted to happen. But anyway. So, yeah. Who's the Flame Emperor, you might ask? Well, it's Edo-God. And yeah, this is, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, the fact that Edo-God is probably the main reason why Dimitri fell apart, as you could probably expect. Because, yeah, guess who was Dimitri's childhood friend before the tragedy at Dusk? Well, it was Edo-God. So, yeah. Once that happened, yeah, he totally broke down, and this is where he starts going to his phase in part 2. And yeah, so you go to the time skip now. The stuff that happens in between the Flame Emperor's reveal and the end of part 1, that kind of relates to what I'm going to be talking about next. But anyway, so Balov comes back. He managed to reunite with Dimitri, who killed a lot of people on the way. But accompanying him is not only the other members of the Blue Lions, but also Gilbert too. And this is the only route you get to use him. And he's kind of an important character in the Trial of Duska, so yeah. And yeah, as you can probably tell, yeah, Dimitri is definitely a different person. And he's kind of being haunted by his ghosts. The ghosts of the people that died on the tragedy of Duska. His father, Glenn, and Patricia. And they're basically, and in his mind, they're basically telling him to get revenge. And to kill the Flame Emperor. aka Edo-God. So yeah. And that kind of, well, motivates him into doing what he does. Basically, all he cares about is, well, killing Edo-God. And taking her head, and then offering it to the ghost in his head. So yeah, pretty depressing stuff. But yeah. But considering how traumatic the Tragedy of Duska was for him, yeah, it's very understandable. And yeah, that's what makes Dimitri just such a fascinating person. It's the fact that, yeah, he definitely shows off how, like, poor mental health can greatly affect someone as well as trauma. It's one of the best depictions of trauma in, like, a AAA game like this, I feel like. So yeah, amazing stuff. I could go into lots of detail about this, but yeah, I want to keep things a little bit more brief, or at least try to, so yeah. Again, Dimitri's just a lot of the best parts of Three Houses on mind. And yeah, his depiction of trauma is probably one of the main reasons why I feel like he's so beloved. But anyway, you get to see more of his monstrous side when he tortures Randolph until Violet puts him out of commission. And then they reunite with another one of Dimitri's important figures in his life, Rodrigue. Rodrigue was a very good friend with Lambert, Dimitri's father, so yeah. He's gonna be important for a little bit. So yeah, he suggests that the kingdom should, or Dimitri should go after the kingdom and help save it. But Dimitri, you know, he wants to go after Edo-God and kill her, so, because that's what the ghost in his head want. So yeah. So instead, they march on to Ember, like going to Gronda Field. And there, he gets to reunite with Edo-God, and wants to, you know, kill her. Unfortunately, she retreats, and this is where something really bad happens. So, Randolph getting killed earlier, or almost getting tortured to death by Dimitri. Yeah, this didn't sit well with Fleisch, who is Randolph's younger sister. So, she tries to kill Dimitri, but then Rodrigue hops in and sacrifices himself. And then this is where, yeah, Dimitri realizes that, yeah, what he's been doing has been wrong. He realizes that, yeah, he hasn't been doing what his people wanted him to do. And then, thanks to Violet's help, he's able to find his resolve and try to atone for the sins that he's committed. But yeah, this is the interesting part though. It's the fact that what the dude says. We haven't actually talked about him that much, but he's also kind of an important character. He was also kind of caught up in the tragedy of Duska, but then Dimitri basically took him in, and then they basically became the best of friends. And yeah, that's kind of what the story revolves around. It's basically the fact that, yeah, Dimitri doesn't want the dude to view him as basically a liege. He wants the dude to basically treat him as an equal and as a friend would. So yeah, it's a very charming support and one of the best that he has. But yeah, here's the interesting thing about the dude. He basically mentions during part 2 that, yeah, And also Dimitri mentioned this in the support with Felix too. The fact that, yeah, this part of Dimitri, it's always still gonna be a part of him. You can't just erase the trauma that he had during the tragedy of Duska. But yeah, but now what he has done is basically like tamed it, I guess. Kind of overcame it, but not outright erased it. And again, that's just a really good depiction of what trauma can do to a person. Again, it's not gonna just go away. And yeah, again, Dimitri just shows that in a very interesting light. And that's why I really like him so much. But anyway, on this new path, Dimitri is now able to go back and take his kingdom by killing off Cornelia. But then Cornelia kind of thinks that tries to muddy the bucket, I guess you could say. She basically makes says that, yeah, she thinks that Patricia is involved in the tragedy of Duska. Then yeah, that kind of, yeah, ruffles Dimitri's feathers a little bit, but yeah, nothing to make him come back to the ball they used to be. Then things get a little bit more interesting too in the next lap, where Dimitri is able to kill Arundel. But then Arundel, in his last words, he basically, again, he kind of like stirs the pot and makes him think that, yeah, Patricia's involved. But then I think the more important thing is the fact that he says that he wants Iroka and Dimitri to kill each other. And yeah, I think it's theorized that what Arundel's plan was make it so that Iroka was the Flame Emperor, the person that, yeah, Dimitri thought caused the tragedy of Duska, so they kill each other, and then, yeah, he could basically conquer all four of them because he's actually secretly Talus, the leader of their Garthans. So yeah, I think that's what most people theorize. I saw that in a video I watched a little bit recently talk about Dimitri, but yeah. So yeah, with Arundel out of the way and also helping out Claude, who decides to leave and then leave his Filnut behind, they march on to Embar finally to try and take the fight to Edelgard. Although how this starts off is actually very good because Dimitri's changed. He's not just going to randomly kill Edelgard because he still actually kind of cares for Edelgard. Especially now that he knows, I think he has a better idea of what's going on. So he tries to talk things out in a more peaceful manner, but Edelgard says that no, she needs to. The part she's doing is what she wants to do, also because of her own trauma. So yeah, she was experimented on by Garthans, and yeah, she wants to kind of get back into the world because of that. So yeah, she's gonna stick to her path. So yeah, Dimitri just has to do what he has to do: take down Edelgard, even if it must hurt to do so. And yeah, stop the Empire. And yeah, he managed to do that. Edelgard goes all out with a hegemon form. She basically turns herself to a monster to try and do whatever she can to take down Dimitri. But unfortunately it's not enough. And yeah, even on a dying breath, Dimitri still wants to reconcile, but yeah. Edelgard's still true to her past. She throws the dagger at Dimitri and dies, and there we go. Dimitri is now the ruler of the United Kingdom of Foodland, under Fargus' banner. But yeah, there you go. That's a lot. But again, there's so much to like about Dimitri here. That's why I needed to go into lots of detail. He's just one of the best characters in all of Fire Emblem, I'd argue. Because yeah, there's just so much he does that's just so good. And you don't really see that with other characters in this series too. And that's why I feel like he's just so well adored. Again, this depiction of trauma and the picture of trauma that he has, yeah, like I said, it's just so well done. And again, this is why, again, I'm so critical of Three Houses, because you have a character this well done, and then you have other characters who are just, well, yeah. Edelgard, anyway. But yeah, like I said though, yeah, Dimitri, yeah, this is definitely a character I'm not gonna forget. On the other routes, he's not that interesting. Like, on Silver Snow and Verdant Wind, he dies at Gronda. In Silver Snow, he comes like a ghost, which is kind of funny, but anyway. And Verdant Wind, he's killed off screen, so yeah, not fun there. In Crimson Fire, you have to fight him because, yeah, you have to. Edelgard things. He helps the church though, because Fargus basically comes to home, and then Rare torches it, but anyway. But yeah, Dimitri of course wants to put down Edelgard because again, it's kind of his duty, but then yeah, he wasn't able to. Ilgar calls the King of Delusion and then dies. So yeah, and then he dies. Not a great ending. But yeah, I think Ilgar realizes that Dimitri's going back on that path and he's never gonna recover from it. I think that's why she calls him the King of Delusion there. So yeah, and there you go. So yeah. I haven't even talked about supports yet. They're also really good, and also tie into why Dimitri is such a well-liked character. Again, you got some really good plot moments with like Felix and Dedue. Sylvain even mentions the dagger in their support. That's the gift that Dimitri gave to Ilgar before she left the kingdom. And then yeah, they make fun of the fact that he gave a freaking dagger to the person he loves. So yeah. The dagger will become an important plot point though, so that's also kind of funny, so yeah. And then you got some other good supports too. The Marianne support's a great one, probably more for Marianne, but yeah, what Dimitri says though kind of hits kind of hard. Marianne's the kind of person who wants to just take her own life and be done with it, but then Dimitri says that if Marianne's gone, he would be upset. And yeah, again, that just hits really home and just kind of shows the kind of person that Dimitri wants to become, so yeah. Especially once he gets on that throne and is able to rule Fodlan. And then there's also the Flame support, where I think in the A support he mentions that he loses his sense of taste, which again, that kind of ties into the trauma thing. I know that's like kind of a symptom for something like that. I realized that in the video, I'm like, yeah, that again shows that they definitely put in a lot of work to make Dimitri seem like such a believable character. And yeah, that's why I like him so much. I definitely see why he's one of the best swords in the series, and why people consider him their favorite character, so yeah. And again, it kind of pains me that Three Houses can be this good throughout, because yeah, again, Crucifer, you know how I feel about Crucifer at this point, so yeah. But yeah, like I said though, Dimitri, amazing character, I'm so glad I got to talk about him now. And yeah, if I ever do Three Houses in the future, I would need a capture card to do so though. Yeah, I definitely want to show off the blue lines to talk more about why I love Dimitri so much, so yeah. But yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, I can't really comment on Free Hopes. He's in that game. Of course, he's one of the lords in that game. And yeah, you can tell me what he gets up to in that game. If it adds on to more of his character, then yeah, that's why I'm kind of excited to learn about it, so yeah. And yeah, he's of course in Heroes, he wants COL. The first chance he got, and for very good reasons, so yeah. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Only one more character to talk about though, it's another amazing Lord character though. And yeah, this is one of my best, another one of my best friends obviously, and also the one that what's the one that helped me bond? I think the person who helped me form these strong bonds in the first place too, I feel like. So yeah, let's move on to their favourite character. Our last unit for today is gonna be Ike from Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Yep, this is another Lord character, and another one of the most popular Lords, and for good reason. So let's talk about Path of Radiance first. So here, Ike is kind of a weird unit to talk about, to be honest, because I don't think he's that good, to be honest, because I feel like a lot of things in Path of Radiance kind of work against him. Path of Radiance is a game that's dominated by mounted units with 1-2 range, which Ike kind of doesn't have. He's a footlock unit that's locked to swords, so yeah, he misses out on both those things, so yeah. How does he redeem himself, I feel like? His growth rates aren't bad. They're very solid in fact. 75 HP, 50 strength, 20 magic, 50 skill, 55 speed, 35 luck, 40 defense and 40 res. So he's always gonna level up pretty good, which is nice. But yeah, I think it's his late game potential that I feel like redeems a little bit. First off is the fact that he's one of the few units in the game that makes good use of the occult skill. Basically, you get these items called occult scrolls, and they basically teach the mastery skill of the class. And Ike's is a good one. It's Ether, which basically combines both Soul and Luna into attacks. That's very nice. And also, yeah, you might want that skill for something that happens later. The end of the game. He also gets a personal weapon kind of early on. I forgot to talk about that one, but it's only okay. It's the Regal Sword. It's 7 might, 6 weight, 95 hit, 10 crit. It's effective against cavalry and armored units, although in Path of Radiance, that's only 2 times effective, so it's only 14 might against those. It would have been really cool if it's 3 times though. But yeah, again, like I said, I feel like late game potential is what Ike is most known for, because yeah, just before his big bounty in the game, he now gains access to his most prestigious weapon. The weapon that uses Smash Bros. And the weapon he's most known for. Ragnell. So in Path of Radiance is 18 might, 20 weight, 80 hit, 5 crit, 1 and 2 range, and gives him plus 5 defense when equipped. But in this game too, it negates non-Wrath critical hits, and negates the blessing on well, 2 important bosses in that game, who we'll be talking about in a bit. So yeah, the promotion's also pretty good too. I feel like that's another reason why Ike is better than your average Milquetoast Lord, like FE6 Roy and the Lords in FE7. It happens during the mid game, and that definitely helps him out a lot. And there's also bonus experience too, so getting him the stats he needs is actually not too hard. He even save skin the level ups with bonus experience too, so yeah. You can't do that in Radiant Dawn though. And yeah, at the end of the game too, because he gets Ragnall, which is an infinite use range 1 to 2 range sword, he makes extremely good use of Wrath from Resolve. This is one of the best ways to basically clear out those last 2 maps pretty easily, because again, he has the 1-2 range. Resolve is pretty stupid because it multiplies his strength by 1.5 when you're low on health, and then of course Wrath gives you extra crit. So with both the skills, it's a pretty good build for Ike too if you don't want to go for Aether. Aether is fine for that very important battle though, and if you're on normal mode where that opponent doesn't move, Wrath actually might be better because they can't Luna at range. So you can stand at 2 range, use the Ragnall, get low on health, and you're able to control that much better, and then yeah, make use of Wrath. So yeah, we'll talk about that fight in more detail in a bit, but yeah, another good thing about him is probably his support, because he has Earth Affinity, and he also supports Oscar, who also has Earth Affinity, so you can get plus 30 Avoid. But his Soren support is also good, because his Dark Affinity also gives evasion, so yeah, as you probably expect, that's pretty good. So yeah, I guess, yeah, let's talk about him as a character now. So the thing about Ike is 1, his relatability, and 2, his character growth. So first off is the fact that, despite being the Lord, basically, he doesn't act like one. He's just, well, a mercenary. He wants to prove himself to his father and his friends and fellow sibling Mist. So yeah. And yeah, that's basically what he does in the first couple of maps. Just, you know, odd mercenary jobs, like killing your bandits, and also rescuing his kidnapped sister and brother from bandits too. And yeah, that goes pretty smoothly until they find Alyncia. So yeah, Alyncia was forced to escape from her homeland because of the invasion of Dayan. So yeah, Ike decides to keep her company, despite what Soren's thinking, so yeah. To basically keep her safe, and yeah, she thinks that, yeah, I think he thinks that, yeah, Lynch is probably gonna handsomely reward the Grail Mercs if, yeah, they're able to protect her. So yeah, that's what they decide to do. But then things get a little bit interesting. Basically go to this fort, and Grail, his father, fights off one of Dane's generals in Petrine, and fights him off pretty easily. But then, during that encounter, Grail spots a figure, and they basically glare at each other, and then they leave that place. And then in the night, Grail and Ike are having a chat, and then Grail says that he has to leave to do something. But Ike's kind of worried about his father for very understandable reasons, so he goes off to assess the situation. So, and then he finds Grail and this Black Knight fighting each other. So, and it doesn't end well for Grail. He refuses to use the sword that that Black Knight gives to him, and then he ends up dying as a result. And yeah, it's one of the most emotional death scenes so far in the series. Yeah, this happens a lot in this series, but I don't think it hits as hard as this. Especially with how Ike's. Yeah, Ike is not only miserable, but also full of rage. But luckily, that Black Knight, and well, he's called the Black Knight, let's just call him that now. He retreats because he hears the roars of um, the Lagoose from Tellius. Oh, not Tellius, Gallia. So then he flees. But yeah, Grail's dead unfortunately, and now the Grail Mercenaries had to move on without him. Unfortunately without Shinon and Gatri because they leave because they don't trust Ike. So they make their way to Gallia now to hopefully help get Lynch into safety. And yeah, that's how they meet the Lagoose. And this is another interesting part, is the fact that, yeah, due to Ike's ignorance and how he's grown up, he doesn't really know much about the Lagoose. But of course, his main character trait is the fact that, yeah, he basically accepts anyone no matter what. And yeah, this definitely ties into probably the next big plot point in the series, or the game, sorry. Blood Runs Red is the chapter. And basically, at that point, they're getting help from the Lagoose, like one of his good friends, Ranulf. But then Ranulf gets his disguise blown at that place, and then he gets basically attacked just because he's a Lagoose. And yeah, that's peak racism right there. But yeah, Ike fights it off, but then they basically out the Grail Mercs, and yeah, that's when Daein comes into attack. So yeah. But also kind of important is the house. Despite the fact that it doesn't quite fit the dude, the Black Knight was in the house. And yeah, you had to escape from him. Although at the end of the map though, Ike decides to fight the Black Knight. It doesn't end well, but then he's able to retreat afterwards. And yeah, Titania and Mist also chastise him for doing something so reckless like that. So yeah. But let's just say that yeah, Ike won't make the same mistake again. Well, kind of. So yeah, there's that. So now it's off to Begnion actually. So yeah, that's what the boat was for. So yeah, there they also meet some more Lagoose, although these ones are a lot more morally incorrect. Like the pirates, the Crow pirates basically. So yeah, they make it to Begnion. They manage to meet Sanaki, the Empress, and he doesn't like what the what Begnion's like, let's just say. He basically completely talks back at what the Kane's thinking, because yeah, the Kane's an asshole. So yeah, it kind of makes sense they would do something like that, so yeah. But then after Sanaki then gives Ike some secret missions, and these secret missions actually involve helping out the Lagoose. From stopping some slave traders to getting the help of Tormod and his group. So yeah, that goes well. And that kind of leads into another thing. So Oliver, he wants herons, let's just say. And yeah, he also is involved in the slave trading and stuff, so yeah. Now it's up to Ike and Cut need to put him down. They rescue the herons, and thanks to Ike being the kind of person that he is, and accepting the Lagoose for who they are, he is able to defeat Oliver, and the forest, the Serenades forest, comes back to life. So yeah, that's great to see. And that also leads to Ike's promotion. He's now the leader of the army. It's basically full of a lot of Crimeans and Begnion soldiers. And yeah, a lot more responsibility is needed for Ike. So yeah, now it's off to Daein to go fight them. The next big thing that happens is going to the castle, where they don't find the King Ashnod there because he left to go to Crimea Castle, so yeah. And yeah, that's really it. But on the way to Crimea, he comes face to face with the Black Knight once again. They have another fight, but again, he can't do anything, and then the Black Knight basically says, hey, you need to use the sword that I tried to give to your father. That's the only way you can damage it, because my armor is blessed by the goddess, so yeah. And that sword causes Ragnar, so yeah. So Ike takes that advice, because yeah, he's gonna need it for one of the more important battles that are coming up. So after After a few more battles, they make it to a castle, they find the castle, but at the end of this place is of course the Black Knight. So yeah, this fight is really infamous because it's basically a slot machine. You need to activate some kind of skill, like a Wrath Critical or an Ether. If you don't, you kind of lose, because you need 5 turns, and although it's not a required fight to fight, but considering how well built up this fight is, because, you know, we're talking about the dude that killed Ike's father, and yeah, and it gets the attention that it rightfully deserves throughout the game. Yeah, you're supposed to hate the Black Knight, and yeah, the game does a very good job of making you do so, so yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, this fight's kind of a slot machine. Again, if you don't get lucky with skills, he's gonna survive the 5 turns. You also need to train Miss too. If Miss is able to fight as a Valkyrie, she can help out a lot. If she can't, she's a liability. So yeah, again, not fun. But if you do manage to win, which is the kind of thing that happens too, you'll get the help of the Dragon Nasir. If not, you get Enna instead. And again, that's non-canon, because the Cid dies in that version, so yeah. Starts off to go fight Ashnod. And yeah, Ashnod, of course, one amazing villain. Ike also has an amazing boss code too. I think that's when, yeah, Ike realized the kind of person Ashnod is as well. It's a good fight, and yeah, Ike is one of the only people who can take him on because his armor is also blessed by the goddess too. So he does that, defeats Ashnod, and the world is saved for the time being. Let's go on to Radiant Dawn now. And yeah, this is... I did summarize that up very quickly, and unfortunately I can't remember too many of Ike's sports except for the Soren one. Actually no, the Titanium one I remember quite well too, because yeah, I think Ike realized in that support that yeah, Grail's death hit her extremely hard, because yeah, as it turns out, yeah, Grail is probably the person that Titania cares for the most. In fact, they probably have a romantic relationship too. So yeah, seeing him die like that just, yeah, tore her apart. But anyway, the Soren support kind of ties into Soren's backstory. The important part with Ike is that, yeah, Ike basically took in Soren because no one else would. That's kind of what his backstory is all about, and yeah, that basically led to Soren. The only person he basically cares about in the world is Ike, and yeah, Ike is always there for him, which, yeah, it's very heartwarming stuff. And also leads to something very cool in Radiant Dawn as well. They get another conversation at the end of the game, which, yeah, absolutely amazing stuff. And only if you get the A support during Path of Radiance 2. Another cool, like, addition, I would say. Then let's go into Radiant Dawn. So Radiant Dawn Ike is a lot more simple. He's actually a strong unit this time, and I can definitely rightfully say so, because yeah, his base stats are absolutely ridiculous. He can get transfer bonuses too, and most people want to train up for the Black Knight fight and have basically cat stats for it. So yeah, Ike is very likely to cap his important stats like strength, skill, speed during Path of Radiance, and then yeah, he'll get a boost to those, and yeah, that's when he becomes amazing. He's a killing machine in this game. His growth rate's also tied into this. 65 HP, 55 strength, 10 magic, 60 skill, 35 speed, 30 luck, 40 defensive, 15 res. Yeah, low speed and res now, but that's not that bad to be honest, because yeah, he can definitely overcome those. His speed is actually pretty good, and with bonus experience it's very easy to cap it too, because yeah, he's very likely to cap like his strength, his skill, and stuff like that, so yeah, pretty simple stuff for Ike, because that's how bonus experience works. He also gets access to another new personal weapon in the Atard. 12 might, 17 weight, 75 hit, 10 crit, 1 range, and 50 uses. This is just a nice weapon to have around, because it has a lot of uses. So, things get fun though during part 3. He gets access to Ragnar again, which again is amazing. It's the same as it is in Path of Radiance, so no problem there. But you also need it for something else in this game. It's needed for the final boss, so yeah. And at the end of part 3, he gets his promotion to Vanguard, giving him A access, which is important if you're talking about Fire Engage, and also access to Aether and the Hill, which he's gonna need, so yeah. So there's that. Character-wise, he's a lot more simple because there's no supports, and he's only a part of this massive story. So the Grail Mercenaries basically get recruited to help fight with the Luguz Alliance. It's basically very back and forth against the Crimean, or not Crimeans, but the Begnion army, because yeah, they do manage to win some fights, but then some fights Begnon gets the upper hand, like Zolgius' plan with Skrymir, so yeah. Eventually though, things go to a head when they had to fight Dane again, because let's just say that Makai is kind of forced to fight the Lugus Alliance, so yeah. And then yeah, that's basically how that ends up with part 3. The end of part 3, where yeah, they're basically forced to fight each other, and unfortunately they killed too many people in the final battle, and then that leads to Ashera Awakening from the Fire Emblem. Laeron's Medallion is also what it's called, and yeah, that's when Hell basically breaks loose. A kind of weird version of Hell where yeah, basically everyone but the important characters gets turned to stone. So yeah, and now with the remaining people left, they had to figure out a way to stop Ashera. So they all make it to, they split up, and they all make it to the tower in Begnion. And yeah, that's where they fight their final battles. But for Ike, his most important battle is probably the one against the Black Knight, because as Ranulf explained, he's figured out who the Black Knight is. It's Zelgius. And yeah, that's the person who, of course, killed Ike's father in Papa So yeah, now that he knows that, it's time to fight. And guess what? His arm is not blessed by the gods anymore, so you can actually use hammers against the Black Knight, and that's actually one of the best ways to kill him. Thanks to Ike's new axe axes, so yeah. Pretty hilarious stuff, but anyway. With that done though, if you do the proper events in the game, you have to do some very specific things, if I remember correctly. And I think it also needs to be New Game Plus as well, or kind of New Game Plus. If you beat the game, you get some new content, mainly Peleus becoming a playable unit. That's the main thing. And you get to see Ike's past, basically. Something I haven't really thought about, but yeah, basically, the general gist is that Grail, he touched the medallion and then he went berserk. So, and this ended up killing Ike's mother. And then after the incident, he would cut his arms so he can't use swords anymore. And then during that event, Laeron and Zelgius happened to be there. So then they basically help Ike by basically blocking his memories of the event of that day, is what I remember correctly. That scene's infamous because the voice acting, so yeah. But after that though, if you do get to see that scene though, the fight against Laeron in the next set though changes quite a bit. I'm calling it Laeron, but in the game actually he's also called Sephiron. So yeah, Sephiron's kind of just the big bad that kind of caused all this to happen. But yeah, his reaction will change quite a bit, and that's something interesting too. That character event from Path of Radiance hasn't gone away. Like if Ike gets to see that backstory, he won't, despite the fact that basically Sephiron / the wrong caused everything bad to happen, he actually doesn't, you know, unlike the other version, he doesn't want to outright kill Laeron. So yeah, again, I do like the fact that yeah, they kind of tie into that backstory of his. So yeah, they put him down, then they go fight Ashera, and Ike is the one who needs to land that final blow on them. So yeah. So Ike, or her, sorry, she's a goddess. So yeah, Ashera's gone, and yeah, Ike is then remembered as the hero that basically managed to make the Bjork and the Goose sell the differences. And yeah, it kind of ends on a very sad note because Ike leaves Tellius to go who knows where, with either Soren or Ranulf, depending on what support you decide to get. So yeah, again, it's kind of depressing stuff to think about, but yeah, again though, very, very good lord though. I think that relatability is why people love him so much as well. Again, in Papa Reigns, he's just some mercenary dude with a normal job in the farmable world. You know, just living his life like a normal person. Well, of course, until, you know, Grail dies. But yeah, again, that's why I feel like people love Ike so much. Not just because he's a fun unit with some very fun character moments like his boss conversations in both games being absolutely incredible. Something I'm not able to remember off the top of my head too much, but yeah. Yeah, basically any boss conversation with Ike is a riot, so you definitely want to go read those. But yeah, that's the thing too. Again, like I said, he has all those fun moments, but again, he's still a very relatable person, because again, he's just some everyday dude, who happens to be very strong, obviously, but yeah. Again, that relatability does make what he goes through just so interesting, especially in regards to the events of Path of Radiance. Which, yeah, that's definitely the better game for him, because Radiant Dawn, he's already basically a build-up character, so yeah. That game basically, that game kind of, carries on, basically. It doesn't really develop him too much more, but hey, getting to see his character arcs, like with the Black Knight End and stuff, was pretty cool, so yeah. Definitely one memorable part of seeing Radiant Dawn's story, that's for dang sure, so yeah. And there you go. I could appear in a lot of other games. Mainly Engage is one of the main ones where he's one of the 12 emblems. A very good one too. I definitely want to talk about him when I talk about the emblems obviously at one point, so yeah. There's obviously Smash though, that's where I first got introduced to Ike obviously, so yeah. Very cool character in that game too. I love what he did in the subspace, so yeah. And of course he's still in Smash today, he's in Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate. Don't need to talk about those games too much, but yeah. Amazing Lord. Is he my favorite Lord? Hard to say, because yeah, going all out with Dimitri Dead made me realize just how amazing of a Lord he is, so yeah, it probably would have to be between those two for me, but yeah. Of course Leaf too. Leaf is my favorite Lord at the moment, but I can definitely see that change if I learn more and more things about Dimitri and Ike, but yeah. I think objectively speaking, those two have to be the best. I just like Leaf for more personal reasons, I feel like, so yeah. That's why he's my favorite Lord, so yeah. That's it. That's my 100 subscriber special, and yeah, like I said, thanks to everyone who managed to help me get to this point, and allow me to talk about Fire Emblem as much as I did, because yeah, that's how I got started, obviously. So I kinda wanna respect that. And yeah, Fire Emblem is also one of the main reasons why I like talking about it so much, obviously. I like talking a lot about stuff on YouTube too. So yeah, talking more about Fire Emblem units, which is something I greatly enjoyed doing when I talked about the Engage cast on the channel. Yeah, that's why I wanted to do a video like this. Talk about more units and talk about more games that I might not be able to play at the moment, so yeah. So that done, I'm gonna see if I can start Birthright as the next video. If not, it'll just be some other filler video, just so I have enough time to prepare for Birthright, because yeah, I'm a little worried about it. We'll see how it goes. The game should run fine from what I can tell. Some cutscenes might be a little weird, but I guess we'll find out. If I have to skip some cutscenes because of crashing and stuff, well, we'll sort that out. No worries there, so yeah. So that's it for this 100 subscriber special, and yeah. As you can probably tell, yeah, I love Fire Emblem so much and I want to keep talking about it, so yeah. And I also would love to hear about what people like about these characters in the comments too, so yeah. Yeah, my favorite character is definitely the odd one out when you compare it to all the others, but yeah. There's that. Yeah, I have nothing else more to say, basically just filler, so yeah. So next time, hopefully it'll be Birthright, if not, well, it'll just be some other random filler episode, and then yeah. Look forward to that playthrough, and yeah, I'll see you guys again for that.